Number 11, 12, and 13 are of a very unique essence. So the first 10 deal with fundamental traits and midos that are essential to the acquisition of Torah. Number 11, 12, and 13 are about relationships. Shimush Chachomim, Dibuk Chaverim, Pilpul Hatalmidim. These three are not personality traits, but rather, what is the proper methodology? How does one achieve greatness? And it's obvious he cannot do it on his own. You need the interaction. And the interaction is a triple interaction, starting off with Shimush Chachamim. Learning Torah from your Rebbe, going on to the B'chaverim, learning Torah with your friends, and number 3, teaching Torah to your Talmidim. I think all 3 of these are the essence of what we call Talmud Torah b'yeshiva. And Chazal in many different sources explain how important Talmud Torah b'yeshiva is. In Yom Daf Chav Ches, the Gemara says, "Miyameim shel aviseinu lo posku yeshiva mehem." Yeshivas never left the people of Israel. Avraham Avinu Zokan v'Yoshe b'yeshiva. The very first Jew was the very first Rosh Yeshiva, and that was Avraham Avinu. Yitzchak, the son of Avraham Avinu, Zokan v'Yoshe b'yeshiva. Yankov Zokan v'Yoshe b'yeshiva. Umi yameim shel aviseinu lo posku yeshiva mehem. Yordu leMitzrayim yeshiva imohem. Yordu leBavel yeshiva imohem. Wherever Jews went, they took their yeshivas along. And historically, wherever the yeshivas guaranteed the continuity of the Jewish people. And in many countries and areas where Jews established kehillas, congregations, but if there were no yeshivas, then Judaism withered away. So Chazal teach us, yeshivas were with us along our long and tortuous journey. Yordu leMitzrayim yeshiva imohem, Bavel yeshiva imohem. Rav Moshe Prager was a survivor, and he wrote a book called Eile Shelo Nichneu, Those That Did Not Surrender. And he exalts the heroism of young Hasidic bocher, primarily Gera Hasidim in the Warsaw Ghetto. They had yeshivas in the underground, and while many people took up arms and they fought the Nazis with gunfire, Dam ve'esh v'timras oshen, there were other heroes, another form and type of heroism, and they were sitting in the cellars and learning Torah till the very last moment, till their very last breath. So yeshivas are the spirit and soul of Klal Yisrael, and the essence of what a yeshiva is about is the combination of Shimush Chachomim, Dibuk Chaverim, and Pilpul Hatalmidim. These 3 define the essence of the yeshiva experience. When we have great teachers, great Rosh Yeshivas teaching Torah, great Talmidim that drink their words of wisdom with great thirst, and between the Rebbeim and the Talmidim, Chaverim, Chavrusas, sitting, analyzing, and learning Torah together. So these 3 are the essence of Talmud Torah b'yeshiva, but we will deal with each and every one of them into itself because they cover 3 different days. Starting off with Shimush Chachamim, Shnei Dinim b'Shimush Chachamim, 2 different interpretations. Sometimes in some sources Shimush Chachamim means being Mishamish your Rebbe. Yes, bringing his chair to his seat, bringing him a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, caring, being Mishamish Chachamim in the very same way One is Makayim Kloid Av Ve'em. So the Gemara says, why did Yeshua ben Nun take over Moshe Rabbeinu? Umeshorsa Yeshua lo yamush metoichu oihel. And Chazal say Yeshua ben Nun was the one that prepared the room when Moshe Rabbeinu came in to teach Torah. He was Mesader Hasaf Salim, and that is why he succeeded Moshe Rabbeinu and stepped in his place. A similar Gemara we find in Brochas Dav Zayin Amid Beis Omer Reb Yochanan Mishim Reb Shmuel Vayichui Gedolei Shimush Shel Torah Yosem Elemudo Shene'emar Elisha ben Shofet Asher Yotzak Mayim Al Yedei Eliyahu. When Eliyahu Hanavi passed away, Elisha stepped in his place. And why is that? So the Gemara in Brochas Dav Zayin says Asher Lomad Loiksiv Asher Yotzak Mayim. So one interpretation of Shimush Chachomim means, yes, being Mishamish your Rebbe. If you ever walked into a Hasidic Chotzer and you saw a Rebbe, an Admor, you saw his Mishamish. But the other interpretation, and the more relevant interpretation in our quest for Kinyan Torah, is the Gemara in Sotah Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis, when the Gemara speaks about Shimush Talmidei Chachamim. So the Gemara in Sotah says, Eizehu Ama Oretz, Koro, Shono, Lo Shimesh Talmidei Chachamim. He might have learned a lot, and he read Torah Shebechsav and Torah Shebal Peh. But if it was not Mishamish Talmidei Chachamim, he still may be defined as an Amoretz, and Rashi explains, Shimush Talmidei Chachamim means Lilmoid Savoras Agamora Betami Amishna, to understand, to analyze, to have the proper Derech HaLimud. And Rashi explains the same in Brochas Daf Mem Zayin Amud Beis. Shemesh Talmidei Chachamim shayu notnim tam ledivrei HaMishna, vayu mitasfim yachad va'oskim bekach. That is the other interpretation of Shemesh Talmidei Chachamim. So in Chazal, in our Braisa, Mem Ches Kinyan Torah, one of them is Shimush Chachamim. It might mean both, but I think primarily it would mean learning from your Rebbe. The Rambam, in his introduction to Mishnah Torah, of all the Svarim of the Rambam, the most monumental and central is the Mishnah Torah. And the Rambam, in his introduction to the Mishnah Torah, the Rambam enumerates Ma'atikei Hashmua. And he continues what Chazal did in the beginning of Masechet Avos. Moshe Kibbel Torah Mesinai, Masorah Yeshua, Yeshua Zakainim, Zakainim Leneviim. And the Rambam goes on from the days of the prophets, Anshe Knesset Gdola, till the days of the great Tanuim and Ameron. And the Rambam writes, each and every generation, who were Matike Hashmua, who were the great giants that passed on the Messiah of Torah. And I think the reasoning is because Torah is unique, as we explained a few days ago. Torah is unlike mathematics, physics, medicine, or any other academic endeavor. Torah is Devar Hashem. And that is why it is essential, it is fundamental to be Mishamish Talmidei Chachamim and to learn from them how we learn Torah, how we understand Torah. Because understanding the truth of Torah is a combination between logical analysis and Svaras Alev. It is your heart and your mind together that teach you Torah. And that is why Shimush Chachamim is so important and so central. And that is the fundamental basis of what we call the yeshiva experience. When Yaakov Avinu goes down to Eretz Mitzrayim, Es Yehuda Sholach Lefanav Goishno, and Rashi explains, Letaken Loi Beis Talmud. So Yaakov tells Yehuda, you run ahead and you prepare a Beis Talmud. I wasn't there. And if I would be there, I probably wouldn't remember. But I could guess and assume that Yehuda objects. And Yehuda says, why should I go alone? This is so pleasant and so great. We're all together. We're learning Torah on the way. So, Abba, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll look for a proper Beis Medrash. I promise I'm going to open up a kotel for you. Yaakov Avinu says, no, you don't understand. I will not set foot in a town unless I know that there is a yeshiva in this town by the time I get there. And that is why Yaakov Avinu sends Yehoshua. You run ahead of the entire group, Lataken Loy Beis Talmud. So the yeshiva experience is essential, and it is the only way to truly achieve the crown of Torah, Keser Torah, and greatness in Torah. So these three combined define the yeshiva experience. Shimush Chachomim, transmission of Torah from one generation to the other. Being Mishamish, your great Rebbeim, the great teachers of Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us in every generation. That is Shimush Chachamim. Next on our list is Dibuk Chavedim, and Bezrat Hashem, that'll be tomorrow.